Hi guys, my name is Cash and welcome back to Cashed Out Cars and another episode of 2Broke2Boosted. So in the last episode you saw me get the turbo all set up and now I have my new upgraded studs here. I have my gasket with some copper sealant and we're going to be putting the turbo on. I'm not going to do that on camera because you already saw that in the last video, but that's going to go on. And then we're going to get to the exciting part for this video, which is installing this new intercooler. Now, this is an intercooler off of eBay that fits very well to have the outlet come out here and the inlet come up right there. And then I'm going to be using that, a bunch of silicone couplers, some aluminum piping, and I'm also going to be installing my blow-off valve, which is a HKS knockoff valve that I honestly don't have super high hopes for, but at the price, I wanted to try it. So I'm going to have the total budget for everything at the end of this video. Right now, we are at $880, so we're well underway to meet our $1,500 budget. So with that said, let's get into it. All right, the turbo's all on here. The upgraded studs that I got aren't really quite as long as I was hoping, so they're a little short for my liking, but they should work, and now we could work on the intercooler stuff. So as you can see, I have a 2.5 inch to 2 inch adapter that's coming right off of the throttle body there. And like I said, we're gonna be using a variety of different silicone couplers to get this thing hooked up. So the basic game plan for this is having this 2 inch to 2.5 inch 90-degree coupler that runs right into this blow-off valve housing. Now, yes, this blow-off valve is on the hot side of the intercooler and it's close to the turbo. That's the only place where it could easily fit. I can't really easily fit it there. So I am gonna put this here. I could do a different video on blow-off valve placement if you want. There are benefits to having it on either side. But anyway, this is what I'm gonna run. Then I have the 2.5 inch to a 2 inch adapter. I hate that this thing's blue, but that was the only thing available on eBay at the time that I purchased it. And then I need to use some of my 2 inch piping down there to connect this over to this, again, 2 inch to 2.5 inch adapter. Then our intercooler is going to sit down there, and this is going to come right back up here with another 2.5 inch to 2 inch 90-degree adapter. This is going to run over here with a 2 inch to 2 inch 90-degree adapter, and then it's going to be 2 inch straight from there back to the throttle body. So that's the basic game plan here. I'm going to work on cutting up a bit of aluminum pipe to get everything all fitted together, and then we're going to go from there. But it looks like I have everything I need. I did have to wait a while to get everything in the mail, but it looks like we're in good shape. All right, it's starting to get just a little bit dark here, but I cut up the first piece of intercooler piping here. I just cut that with a hacksaw, and that went very well. And this stuff fits together extremely nice. This intercooler piping was from Summit Racing, and it's very, very high quality. One thing that I know I'm going to get questions on is how is that going to fit? Your hood is not going to clear that. And I'm well aware, if you look at the side profile, it does just barely clear. And I am going to have to notch my hood a bit to fit the intercooler piping like this. With that said, I still like this intercooler piping because I think it looks cool coming over the radiator. And also it's a lot less hassle than trying to route it down below. And I'm still pretty happy that I went with this method. Cutting the hood, I'm not actually going to do in this video. That'll be a separate video down the line because I'm going to get this thing running with the hood off to start and then continue making progress on it. But like I said, this is good progress and I'm happy with how this thing is coming out. Also, one more thing before I forget, I did have to remove this hood brace here, which goes right there in the center of the car, and that will allow my intercooler there to sit up high enough and actually make connection with these couplers. And I did also have to move my horn, which I'm going to relocate, and I haven't figured out the final location for that thing just yet. All right, so here's everything basically laid out in place how it's going to sit. There's a few small things that I still need to button up. I need to decide if I want to bend in that tube a little bit there to allow for this tube to sit a little bit lower. I don't really want to do that because 2 inches is already fairly small for an intake. And also I need to decide if I need to just open up these places right here in front to get that intercooler to sit up nicely. But that's what I'm going to be working on. It is starting to get dark, so I think I'm going to continue this tomorrow. But for now, this is looking good, and I'll see you in the morning. Now I have a little piece of that 2 inch aluminum pipe right here to serve as a connector between these two elbows. So that's in good shape, and this whole intercooler piping and routing is pretty much as it will be. Now right now these elbows do a pretty good job of holding that intercooler up in place there, but I still want to get at least one mount on it so it doesn't flop around and so I don't risk it falling off or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm doing for that. So right here, I have just a small steel band that I got actually off of a old clamp that I had that broke. So this was free to me. I already had it. And what I'm gonna do is run that thing from this mount here on that radiator mount down to this mount on the intercooler. So I'm just gonna get this in place here, bend this at a 90-degree angle, drill a hole in it, and then we'll mount this other side to that intercooler right there. All right, so I got this thing on here. I used a leftover bolt from the free Miata that I got. If you haven't seen the video on my free Miata, check it out on the channel. But anyway, that threaded right into the intercooler, and that's right up there at the AC condenser mount. And this thing's very solid. I still might put on another mount just in case, but between this and those two silicone couplers hanging this thing, it feels really, really good in there. All right, we are looking good. So I have my intake air temperature sensor right there. Now, a lot of people say that you do get heat soak if you put it close to the throttle body, but I'm gonna see how it reads. It's not super close, and also once I actually tighten this down, I'm gonna turn it that way so it's away from the engine, hopefully in a slightly cooler area over here, and that will be in good shape. I cut down this 90-degree bend a little bit to move this whole thing this way to get it away from that headlight motor, which worked really well. And I also cut down both of these 90s to sort of pull this pipe in that way. And the way that I've been cutting this stuff is with this hose cutter here. I sort of cut in along the tube like this, and then go around it sideways, and that seems to be pretty effective here. I haven't had any problems cutting up those couplers, and everything's fitting nicely. So I'm gonna keep going, keep tightening everything down a little bit, and update you once I make some good progress. Before I put everything together here with the clamps and tighten everything down, I want to just bead roll these edges to make sure that they don't pop off once this car is actually hitting boost. My grandpa built this bead roller here, which is pretty sweet, so me and my dad are going to just bead roll the edges of the pipes where I need them. We'll show you how this thing works, and then we'll get everything back on the car. So there's that upper piece of tooling there, which is ribbed up, and then there's that lower one there that looks like the inner side of a bearing, and those go together. They squeeze together when you tighten this down, and that in turn forms a bead as you turn this thing. So here you can see how this thing's working. You don't really get quite a factory bead like that, but it's something that for a low boost application is going to be pretty sweet, and it's a lot better than having no bead on there. All right, so now I've got everything on here all clamped down and tightened down. I slipped that air filter on there because that's what I have for right now. I am gonna make a different intake once again down the line. And now I have my blow-off valve installed here on that piece of intercooler piping. This thing was tough to install. There's a really big C-clamp in there that I had to sort of put in the vise carefully to pop into place, but now the thing's on there and I need to just hope that this eBay blow-off valve holds boost. I'll have a full review on this thing down the line, but now I could slide it into place here, tighten that down, and then this intercooler is going to be all set. And so guys, with that blow-off valve cleanly installed down there and with everything else tightened down, that's going to wrap up this video. So here's a shot of the car with the intercooler. You could see it's obviously not centered, but I think it still looks pretty sweet down there and it should be pretty functional, and I'm happy with how everything went. So if you're interested in any of the parts that I used in this video, I have them linked down in the description below. If you want to see the next episode of 2Broke2Boosted right now, you could head over to my Patreon page, and the next episode is installing the turbo lines, and we are getting very, very close to starting this thing up for the first time. So I'm super excited. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more, and I hope you stick around for the next one. Take care.